Hello everyone, this is Bhavika Arora and today we have with us Miss Arpita. She is a journalist and also founder of Foundation Jazbaat. Hi Arpita, how are you?
I am good. Thank you so much.
Can you please give people a brief introduction about yourself?
Yeah, firstly, thank you so much for this particular session. I'm Arpita Chaudhary. I have recently started my career as a trainee journalist. Before that, I did my post graduation from the Indian Institute of Mass Communication. I did my graduation from Lady Shri Ram College, Delhi University, in English literature. Apart from that, as you already mentioned, I am also the founding member of Jazbaat Foundation. So this is basically an organization, a youth-driven social impact organization, where we are working with underprivileged and underserved students from in the country, and basically giving them access to education.
Okay. So Arpita, can you tell that how you started your journey?
Yeah, so basically, it started almost, I would say, uh, when I was just like I qualified my 12th standard, and then I basically started it as a volunteering activity. So during that time, I was visiting several NGOs, and we were having, I was conducting sessions, I was taking English classes. So that is something I was doing as a part of my voluntary activities. But then what happened was that I in 2009, towards the end of the year 2019, basically we got in touch with several students and who were in their ninth and 10th standard during that time, and we basically realized that they need some kind of training. They need some kind of support, extra support apart from whatever they are getting from respective NGOs. They need some extra support to understand their skill sets, to understand how they can use it for getting better employment, and how they can sort of I would say that how they can sort of stand a chance in this very competitive world that right now we are in. Right. So that is the main goal that we had during that time. And of course, unfortunately, after that, the COVID pandemic hit the country and the world. And these students who came from very remote villages of India, and they basically were almost, I would say that they were forced to uh, drop out, and they were having a lot of uncertainty as to whether they will be able to continue their academic studies, and whether they will be able to come back to Delhi and rejoin their schools, right? So that is where our intervention started. And as we all know that this is the digital age, and during the COVID pandemic, unfortunately, we got to understand that there is a huge amount of inequality prevailing in the society in terms of the fact that when we talk about the digitalization, so definitely a lot of efforts have been made, and now we are in 2023, like almost 3 to 4 years have passed from that period. So now we can see that a lot of improvement is coming up in terms of the availability and access to technology and the digital equipments. But during that time, when we started, there was a huge digital divide that we recognized. So our students were finding it difficult to join classes over internet, because of course like all the schools were conducting their classes over online platforms. So it was difficult for them to attend those classes from their villages, wherever they were living, because there was a lack of internet connection. They did not have smartphones. They did not have access to laptops, online resources. So there was a huge gap that was prevailing, and that is where we intervened, where Jazbaat intervened. What we did was we basically adopted various methods like crowdfunding, donations, even a donation in terms of resources like books, internet, laptops, smartphones. So all these things, all the resources that are required for a student to attend online classes, that's where we intervened. We started collecting all this. We started collating all these resources, and then we also made sure that these students enroll back into their schools. So successfully, they were able to enroll back to the 10th standard, and they were able to also move ahead from 10th to 11th to 12th. They completed all these things under our guidance. All their I mean, all their academic milestones under our guidance. And during, I would say that 12th, when these students qualified their 12th standard, most of the students got above 75%, and one of our toppers, he also got 82% in his examinations. So this is how we intervened. And apart from that, I would just like to mention that we are not only providing academic training, because these students are already enrolled into government schools of Delhi. So they are getting the academic support. We are providing them an extra support for them so that they can understand their subjects, they can appear for their exams well. And for that, we also started a voluntary teaching program. And it is a matter of great pride that our foundation got several applications for volunteers from students from all over the country and all the reputed colleges in India. They applied for being volunteers with us, and they spared their time apart from their busy schedule. They spared their time to contribute towards this particular project, and they help the students with their curriculum. They help the students with skill training. We also right now, because it's been almost 3 years for us that we are running this project, so we are also focusing more on skill training, because as I said, that nowadays it's a very big sort of skill that is required in today's time is understanding the digital world. And right now, there are of course pros and cons of the digital world. There are threats attached to it, but there are also a lot of opportunities attached to it. So therefore, we are trying to make our students understand how they can sort of use this digital world, all the digital resources, all the digital tools that are available for them to attain better skills, to upskill themselves, and to also get better employment opportunities. And right now, I'm happy to share that all of our senior batch students are now enrolled into reputed colleges of Delhi University, and they are pursuing their favorite courses. And apart from that, they are also getting training in skills. That is what we are providing them. So this is how we are trying to provide a very holistic developmental approach towards these students.
So, in this journey, what have you learned? I mean, yeah, you have teach a lot of students. So there should be something that you have also learned from them. Can you please share that? With what you learned in this process?
Yes, as I said, that when I started volunteering, it was not something that I planned earlier. So it was just like an extracurricular activity that I was doing. But throughout this journey, like it's been almost, as I said, 3 to 4 years that we are doing this. And what I learned is the kind of passion and enthusiasm these students have. So, despite the fact that they don't have the right amount of resources, they don't have they don't have that much of resources that maybe a student from an urban society has, right? So there is a huge inequality, and we need to acknowledge that. But what I see that is they are very much enthusiastic, very much diligent about their work. And I've seen them throughout the COVID period. After that, they have done so much hard work to get good marks so that they could get into good colleges. What we as a foundation did, and all the founding members and all the volunteers, whatever we did, it was only a part of supporting them. So we could only support them, provide them with the right resources, but it was they who made sure that they will make the best use of whatever is available to them. They will achieve the best that they can. And they definitely did so. And even right now, we have students who are in 12th and 10th and 9th standards. Apart from those who are right now in college, we also have other students in school. So even they are doing the same thing. So this is what I wanted to create, that there should be a sense of continuity in this method. It's not that we help 5 students and we are done with it. We have more students now, and they are coming in. They are asking for help, that we need help, and we are welcoming them. We are providing them with the same opportunities, the same resources that are available to us. So that kind of confidence instilled in those students basically gave me confidence, and all the other members, all the other volunteers confidence that this is something that we need to do. And that sort of made my belief in education for all, which is our hashtag, education for all, much more stronger and much more vision oriented.
Okay. So, like provide education to students, okay? So, as we said, the Indian education system is very bad. It's very poor condition. We do not give practical skills to students. So, after all these years also, after also applying education policy, why is our education system so bad still till now?
See, firstly, I would like to say that definitely there are a lot of backlogs that we face in the education system. But yes, right now, I just like before I go into this particular debate, because it's a very complex one, I would like to say that yes, right now the things are changing a lot. And especially as you mentioned, the national education policy, recently we see that so many, changes have been brought up, and so many skill training mechanisms, and so many, I think I would say, innovative methods have been brought up, so that students are not restricted to that foundation of subjects, and they are not restricted to that foundation of just focusing on their academic curriculum. They can also focus on innovation. They can also focus on skill training. They can also focus on subjects which are not traditionally a part of the education system. So for example, I would say that our students who are right now in Delhi University, they have got options to choose some of their extra subjects apart from the major course that they are doing. Apart from that, they have also got the option to choose various subjects. And I was checking that list because our students were asking for advice from us. So I was checking and I was trying to find out that what will be the best course for them. And I found that very interesting courses are available. So I would say from NCC to yoga to drawing, painting, dancing, and various interesting courses like robotics, AI, that is the artificial intelligence, which is of course right now taking over the world right now. So all these subjects were available for the students in Delhi University, and they were able to choose two out of it every year. They are able to choose two. So this is a new thing that happened, because I myself is from Delhi University, but I did not have that option during that time. We had very limited subjects apart from the major course, and we were asked to choose from that. But now I see that after almost I passed, I qualified my graduation from Delhi University 2 years back. But now I see that my students who are getting into Delhi University are getting so many options. So that I think that now within 2 to 3 years, especially after the COVID pandemic, we are seeing a drastic sort of change. And I would say that the pace has gone higher in terms of implementing these policies. And of course, it is a time bound thing, and we have to see how much it affects the students and how much it caters to the needs of every child. And having said that, I would say that because we have had a very stagnant policy intervention in the education sector since a very long time. So as you would know that the last policy that was before the NEP came in, the last education policy was brought in so many years ago. Right. And even before that, the first education policy was brought so many years ago. So there's a huge gap between these policies. So the problem is that we are not trying to update ourselves. Right. We are not trying to cater to the needs of the students of the current generation. Right. So that's why I definitely have a lot of hope in terms of the national education policy, because it tries to in somewhat a very modern manner to include aspects of the 21st century. Right, not dating back to ages ago when rote memorization was the only thing, and reading from the book, learning from the book, and just sort of learning the answers from the book and writing it during examinations. So this was the routine pattern that we had. We were not, able to, even our teachers, even our schools were not able to identify the talents that we have. Were not able to identify our interests right? So everybody was basically asked to learn only one thing, and it was basically a one size fit all kind of a situation. But I think that definitely education is not a one size fit all, because considering the talents, considering the interest, considering the intellectual capacities, and considering also the social and economic factors of the students, I think there needs to be a very customized form of understanding, customized form of education that needs to be given out to these students. But definitely there are issues when we talk about infrastructure, when we talk about investment, which is improving a lot. I would say that in the last few years after the pandemic, I'm seeing that definitely now, if you take the example of online classes, like we would, like, I would say that 8 to 10 years back, we would only dream of having classes from home, right? But now it's a normal thing. It's a very normal thing. And any day we can have our classes online and anytime. So that is how the progress is being made. And also the accessibility, as I said, that we are also, Jazbaat is also a forerunner in terms of imparting skill training. So these avenues are opening up given the online mechanism. Now, every student, we even ask our students at Jazbaat to attend these online courses, attend these online structures. We make arrangements for them. There are a lot of, I would say, even government policies, because of course our students belong to a certain section of the society. So they also have a lot of government policies which are coming up to help them and to uplift them. Right. So recently, the skill training session was organized by the government of India, and I asked my students to sort of attend those sessions so that they could understand what are the policies available for them, and they could also avail them. Because I would say that there's a huge gap between a policy that is being introduced and the implementation of it. Right. So in order to bridge that gap, it is important that the stakeholders, the students who are directly the beneficiaries, they should know that, okay, this is the policy that I can avail. So I should make an effort. I should go on that website, or I should visit that office. I should talk to them, and I should see that how I can avail that policy. So I think that is how we are trying to move forward, by increasing awareness, by also collaborations. We have collaborated with various organizations in the past 3 years. And this, what has the benefit of this collaboration is that we are creating a larger community of people so that they are aware about what are the kind of efforts we are making. They are aware about how they can help us, and also our students are also, getting this kind of information about the outside world. For example, I would just take a small example that one of our collaborations with an actors Hindu college, Delhi University. So what we are doing in that collaboration is that we are conducting skill training sessions for particular topics. For example, email writing. So email writing for us, I would say that it's a very it's not even a job, right? But for these students, using email IDs, using computers is also a very new thing. Right. So they should know how to use email IDs. Now they are in college, and after a few years, they will go into jobs. So they should know how to use their email ID. They should know how to write formal emails, how to write letters online, right? How to use Microsoft Office, like the Word, Excel. These are very basic things. Like if I say right now, I think a lot of people who are watching this would say that, okay, these are very basic things. How is that even a skill? But we have to understand that there are many students, many people in our society who still don't know how to use internet, who still don't know how to Google, how to use Gmail, how to use Microsoft Office. And these have become a very essential part of our lives, right? So therefore, it is important that we start from the basics and then we move on to the more like advanced and more technical oriented skills for the students.
Okay. तो एज यू मेंशन बिफोर कि हमारी सोसाइटी में बहुत ज्यादा इनइक्वालिटी है, तो हाउ कैन वी मेक आवर सोसाइटी मोर इक्वल in terms of education, terms of,
Right. So I think that's a very complex question, and I don't know if I am equipped to answer that question, because even big policymakers and big thinkers of our country are also thinking about it, and I mean, of course, like in big conferences right now, we see every time we are talking about education a lot, right?
जैसे
So I don't.
हम रिजर्वेशन तो दे देते हैं, बट क्या
Hmm.
रिजर्वेशन से सोसाइटी में इक्वालिटी आती है नहीं?
Right. So I would say that definitely I have some opinions about all these mechanisms that are being introduced in India. जैसे कि हम रिजर्वेशन की भी बात करते हैं तो वो भी काफी कॉम्प्लेक्स इशू हो गया है, क्योंकि जब ये शुरू में इंट्रोड्यूस किया गया था तो उस टाइम एक व्यू था कि जो लोग जो बहुत ही पिछड़ी जाति से आते हैं हमारे समाज में, उन लोगों को एक लेवल प्लेइंग फील्ड दिया जाए, ठीक है, ताकि जो लोग जिनके पास ऑलरेडी अपॉर्चुनिटीज हैं, रिसोर्सेज हैं, वो उनके साथ एक लेवल पे compete कर सकते, right? But now because it has been extended so much, the reservation the policy has been extended so much, even like right now it is existent in the country. So there are loopholes in it. There are a lot of loopholes in it that some people are making use of it just for the sake of it, or just for the benefit associated with it, and we all know about it. It's not a very hidden fact in the society. So apart from that, like apart from the reservation policy, because it's an ongoing debate, and just a few weeks ago I was reading this article by a very big thinker and philosopher of our country. Even in that article I saw that there are different facets associated with it, right? So we can, it's not a very black and white thing right now, right? We cannot say that, okay, this is right, or we should just blatantly remove reservation and we should not continue with it. There are some people who are in favor of that, and there are some people who are in favor of not removing the policy. So I think it's a very complex procedure, and we cannot take a decision just like sitting down and just like expressing that, oh, this should not be the case, right? It's a policy level conversation and a policy level dialogue that we need to have. Having said that, apart, I would say that there are, as you talked about, equality, right? So there needs to be an understanding of the difference between two terms, I would say, equity and equality, right? So equality is like giving everyone the same opportunity, right? So you give the same opportunity to everyone. So if I consider, like for example, in my NGO, if there is one student, if I want to introduce a policy of giving like a tab to every student in my school, because we have online classes. Now there is one student who comes from a very like under resourced background, like for example a student from my foundation, right, who has no access to anything. Now you give a tab to that child. Apart from that, you give another tab to a child who comes from an urban well-to-do family, right? Now the policy is that, okay, we have given a tab to everyone, so we have basically adopted the principle of equality, that हमने सबको tab दे दिया है, and so basically अब क्या है कि everybody will be able to access education. Now, the problem is that the urban child who comes from a like good well-to-do family, he might already have a device with him, right? Maybe he's having a phone, or I mean, who knows? Maybe he also has a tab or a laptop, right? Already before he got the tab. So apart from that, he has a good internet connection. Apart from that, he knows how to use that device, right? So he's well aware about how to use a phone, a laptop. He has access to internet. So maybe even before this policy was introduced, he already was using those devices and sort of maybe completing his projects, completing his homework. He knows how to do it. On the other hand, the child maybe who comes from my foundation or who comes from a very remote village, you suddenly give him a tab, right? With no training of how to use a tab, with no training, with no access to internet. You are not giving a data pack to that child. Okay, you are not considering the fact that he is living in a very remote village. So he might not have that connection. He might not have people around him who can teach him how to use the app, right? Or he also might not have the digital literacy as to how to, use it judicially and not like fall into the negative. Maybe he's a first generation learner, so his parents also don't know what to do. On the other hand, this urban child, he's not a first generation learner. His parents are there to guide him. So that's where the term equity comes, right? So we have to understand that that urban child might not need a tab because he has access to the resources. He has access to everything. So if and when he declares it that, okay, I have access to devices and I can do my classes online, even you, I mean, even if you don't give me a time. On the other hand, that child from the remote village will need a data pack along with the tab, will need someone to guide him, and maybe will also need an environment where he can study properly. So these children, when during COVID, just when the COVID hit the world, they also did not have proper books with them. They did not have a room of their own in the village, in the villages where they live. So they're living with 10-20 people around. It's a community based system that they live in, right? So it is very difficult for them to create an environment like a school environment or like a class environment. For example, I have a separate corner of my in my home to like sit down and talk, attend a class or do something. That child doesn't have it. So I mean, just like taking home the point of the idea is that we have to. I am a great supporter of equity, because we are definitely talking about equality, and all the policies are also talking about equality, giving everybody the same opportunity, everybody the same thing. But we have to also understand the other factors associated with the socio-economic factors, the cultural factors, the geographical factors as well. Right. So these are some of the very complex factors we have to take into account. And when it comes to education, I already gave the example, I'll not repeat it. But when it comes to education, it is also about understanding the interest of the student. And that is why I'm saying that NEP can be a big game changer if implemented and executed properly. Right. It's not something that we have just introduced the policy and introduced the changes now. Two times we are having a board examination. This will not really go a long way. But if we slowly start with the processes of innovation, of research, of collaboration, of identifying the talents, the skill training, everything, like every aspect of the policy has to be executed properly. And though, of course, I would say that being in the field of education and journalism, I can understand that some of the progresses are being made, but we still have a long way to go.
So when we talk about digitalization, अब तो हमारे पास AI है, Chat GPT, Binge AI. So how will this new era, this new AI will change education, the field of education? How will it affect? क्योंकि आजकल हम देखते हैं कि AI आ तो गया है, but students just copy assignments and homework from them.
Right.
और plagiarism बहुत ज़्यादा होता है. So how will it shape the future of education?
Right. So, just a few weeks ago, I was giving a speech somewhere, and I said that artificial intelligence is actually taking over the world now. Like everything, not even education, it is taking over every field. So, if you talk about, for example, the big layoffs that are happening in the big sort of companies like Amazon and Google and Facebook, right? Meta. So the layoffs that are happening, one, of course, there is an economic crunch that we are facing right now in the country, in the world. But apart from that, it's also about the fact that a lot of the work, the clerical level work, is being taken over by AI. Right. So, for example, in education, I give you a task to write an essay on any topic, right? So what the first thing that nowadays students will do is, earlier we used to Google, right? Like our generation, we used to Google. But now, this generation, the coming up generation, what they will do is they'll go to ChatGPT or Bard or any other sort of AI platform. They'll type the topic, they'll get the content. Now that is where the intervention comes. Now there are a maximum number of students who will just copy the content that comes to them, right? Yeah. Now the human intervention, that is where I believe that AI can never really replace human beings. That is not possible. Why? I tell you that they will give a very robotic answer. So I have been I was around AI and I was using AI while I was completing my post-graduation. I mean, because I just qualified 2 months ago. I just passed out from my college. So we were having a lot of access to AI, and being journalists, we were also having a lot of debates around whether the job of journalism, because it's all journalism, the basics of journalism is actually writing. right? So
Yeah.
you reporting something. So reporting is essentially writing, whether it is visually, whether it is through audio or through text. It's writing, right? So writing, we were basically having this contention that whether writing will take up our jobs. Sorry, the AI will take up our jobs because of writing. Because
Yeah.
writing can ChatGPT can easily do that, right? But what I feel that even as journalists, even as students, even as academicians, what the AI cannot do is have the human ideas. The fact that it is artificial intelligence, right, quote unquote artificial, it is that the human interests can never be understood by the AI, right? We don't know, of course, the kind of technological intervention that will happen like 10 years down the line. But what I can see is that we can never have that human interest induced into it, right? The stories that you read in newspapers about anything like a crime or any kind of, like right now G20 news, like the G20 news is like the top headline. So if you look at the writing style, if you look at even the assignments that the students do, right? So our one of our professors was saying that she has been like in the teaching field for like many years, or almost like 20 years. She said that I can just read one paragraph of a child's assignment. I can understand whether it's from an AI or I mean, the child has, because it's
AI does
also
not
not
have the
about.
connectivity between.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. That AI definitely can give you the. They can do the groundwork. So one of our professors in IMC, he said that AI can be used to leverage to basically save our time, so that we don't have to like spend like hours and days and weeks to do our research, or to like open 100 Google tabs on our laptop and read about stuff. AI can bring all this thing together. They can give you
Yeah.
the groundwork, but how you work on it, how you execute it, even a policy, for example, any policy that is being introduced, maybe the AI can help you in research. But when it comes to the execution of the policy, and definitely, I mean, I would say that especially in India, which is like such a diverse country, and of course a democratic country, there is a variety of ideas that are coming in. So the AI will not be able to, I mean, fathom this variety, this diversity, right? So they can give you the groundwork, they can give you the research work, but the execution, the how you treat it and how you present it will definitely be in the hands of human beings.
Yeah. So let's wrap up the interview with the last
Yeah.
question. That what is your message to viewers,
Yeah.
to people
It's a
seeing you?
very, I would say that's a very cliched question, but definitely I would use this platform to I mean, make people aware that we still like, although a lot of developments, a lot of modernity, a lot of technological advancements are taking place in the country and in the world. And especially India is also like striving to be one of the global leaders in the country, in the world, sorry. But we need to also understand that education is the foundation for any developmental activity that takes place. So the work that we are doing at Jazbaat Foundation under our campaign project, Education for All, is something. It's a very, like, I would say, drop in the ocean kind of a action that we are taking, right? So there are many other organizations, many other social impact organizations that are doing the same kind of work. And what I would urge young people, especially, that if you can contribute to one of these initiatives, any of these initiatives, I'm not saying that you have to only contribute to the one that I'm doing or any other person is doing, any initiative where you can contribute towards the educational development of our country, right? Whether it is awareness, whether it is academics, or whether it is skill change. This is because this is something which is going to go a long way, right? And even if you find a child around your neighborhood, or anybody who wants education, or anybody you feel that you can teach, maybe spare 1 or 2 hours of your time, of your schedule, and teach that child, right? Or go visit an NGO sometimes in a month, right? I am not saying that everybody has that temper of contributing to voluntary activities, or to doing sort of social impact activities. But even if you do it once in a while, not as a not as a career, not as a hobby, if you do it just once in a while as a contribution, as your contribution towards this field of education, it can go a long way. Because I and many other thinkers do strongly believe that young people have the power to bring about transformative change. Right. So that is the goal that we are running behind. We are running towards, I would say. And our goal of for all is not just limited to providing academic accessibilities, but it's also about making a very bringing about a very holistic change in terms of education and in terms of the policy interventions. The Sustainable Development Goal 4, which is quality education for all, that is what we support very much. And I would say that even if one person takes that effort to maybe teach someone, or maybe pass on some information, or maybe educate or make people aware, that will add on to this larger goal. And by 2030, I'm sure that we will be able to achieve the targets of SDG Goal 4. Yeah.
Thank you, Arpita, for joining us today. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you so much. And I would like to thank the organization and you, Bhavika, for this particular initiative.
Thank you.